Sound test, sound test. Can you hear me out there? Alrighty. Maybe a quiet night on the stream tonight. I have no guests on yet either, so. All right, cool. What's up, Rob? What's up, Bill Rocks? How you guys doing? Ending a nice holiday weekend. I know the weather was kind of miserable where I live, except for today. Today was nice. Got nicer as the day went, but you know, had a good evening last night with some family and friends. So yeah, but other than that, pretty cool. Oh, that's right, man. You're streaming on Blue Box tomorrow. That's awesome. Very cool. Good to hear. I know Kayla, I think, was on yesterday. I missed it. We were out and about before we had people over. Unfortunately. Nice CNC. That's good. Chuckle like that. Very cool. So we may have a light audience tonight, but hey, so be it. It's a Monday night. We'll go nice and slow and just chat about Thieves. Thieves and a lot of other subclasses. Some ideas for spicing them up. It's always tough, man. Yeah. Picking at, like, for my one shots, it's not a big deal. But if you week after week, you know, you gotta pick. I mean, I got my friends, so that's easy. You gotta pick those that you wanna think will be a contributor and reliable, right? So it's a hard combination, man. Hard combination, fine. I will get out your dice tomorrow. So I could not do it today because it was Memorial Day and no mail today, so we'll be out tomorrow. Excellent to hear. So everyone knows, like, Parentland is on as well, and I believe that you can have both up, and you can have Parentland up as the second one, and it will credit. So just note that. I think there's a lot of other ones doing it. So, but after 3 years of streaming, you think I know what the hell I'm doing? Excuse me. Look at that, 7:24. We're ahead of schedule. Hey, Corey, what's going on? I think we're going to have a fun discussion here tonight. Like I said, maybe this one will be a little more low-key than some of the other ones, which is good, actually. Let's kick off this week. am I the only one that's like dreading going back to work tomorrow? Yeah, Bytor, that's pretty cool. And there are a lot of them, man. A lot of them that are fallen. But we definitely don't want to take away from the truth of World Day. World Day is a very solemn thing. It does, doesn't it? It's up to work does suck. And these are the kind of weekends where you may not have something going on, so you sleep in a bit, and then you pay for that. I end up, you really pay for it. That's true. It's only a 4-day work week. Said this may be a good one tonight to really ask some questions, because I don't think that the chat will be blowing through like it normally does on certain nights. Since we're on an off night, a Monday, and I think that'll be able to really talk into detail on some concept ideas. So there he is. I'm not sure where Anna is. Oh, I know, man. I know there wasn't any at all. I know exactly. Absolutely.
What?
It's Memorial Day, talking about Memorial Day. Yes. We have a lot we have like my guest tonight. Serviceman. I think Gygax is still in the military. So we got a lot of tonight, spicing up your thief class. Plus, I hope we don't get too deep into the weeds and start, to assassinate or not. Let's just tackle it.
Assassinate or not?
Yes.
Does that mean as a player character?
That means the assassin itself, right? But, a lot of people don't want assassins in their game at all.
Well, I think assassins are really good for the storyline. I mean,
yes.
If you wanted to make it random, and then they have him kill other NPCs.
What? Yes. Great. I wasn't on last night, so we pushed. I normally push Memorial Day and Labor Day shows to that Monday night because I'm usually doing something with friends and family that Sunday night. So yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure where Anna is, but that's okay. Boom. But I have someone. There he. When the DM smiles, it's already too late. Now do it again. I didn't have your thing up. Yes. And thank you for the follows. So we start cranking up already on follows there. When the DM smiles, it's already too late. Good evening, everyone. I'm JK Lurkerson, but I have the ever mysterious Tim with me. And here comes Anna. So we'll have Anna and Tim. So
well, there goes the neighborhood.
There goes the neighborhood. There's Anna. So hello.
Sorry for being late.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Tim beat you for a change there. That's
for a change. That's so rare.
It is, but that's okay. So
okay.
I'm just trying to give you guys a little more picture space here as I make some adjustments here.
Yeah,
so
I'm going to log into chat.
Yeah, we were talking. I don't know how this. Once again, I do things and I don't know how the discussion gets started. But I know we did fighters and mages already, and I know I wanted to do thieves. So, got you, Tim. Enoch, I got you back on. Get you back up on there. for that VIP there. And there's a lot of, how do you say this? The thief is gone and the rogue is gone multiple different directions over the editions. Like, once again, not going to make this an edition war, but being able to get multiple damage, like a backstab damage with a bow at range, drives me insane. Right, in 5th edition, it drives me out of my mind. Okay, so Tim, shooting into melee combat, and you know how much I hate shooting into melee combat, as you saw on Saturday night when
I hate being in melee when they're shooting in there, but if it's not, I'm not in there, then
yeah, well, yes, exactly. But you saw Saturday night, and the one character. And oh my gosh, Ferdinand said, and it's Lafayette. I got them mixed up all night. Lafayette said, "Oh, just shoot in," and Sierra did, and shot him right in the butt, which was awesome, right in the melee combat that one time. But getting shooting in the melee combat's one thing, but shooting in the melee combat get a backstab damage drives me insane.
Yeah.
But I'm not here to edition war, so right, Tim.
Well, no. But did you see my video of shooting a box up close? How easy it is to get a shot off?
Yeah, yep, that's true. That's true.
But that's not the same thing as getting a backstab bonus.
Exactly.
I don't agree with a backstab bonus as far as multiples of damage. With arrows, too many variables.
Right. Yeah. But that doesn't, and my point was,
get the guided on in.
My point was that they've changed what the rogue/thief has been able to do from 1st edition all the way through 5th, and a lot, and it's just dependent on the edition. But a lot of people think thieves are boring, but they're not.
I was going to say the other way around. It's one of the most fun classes to play in a lot of ways, because it's the one that has so many diverse, cool things they can do.
Some people think that, but I've heard of a lot of people who say they refuse to play thieves. People like spellcasters, people like what's up, Corey? There, yeah, So, all right, before we get going even further, so I don't forget, let me start this up. So we're going to do at minimum a $25 gift certificate to Troller Games. It's a different gift certificate. So if you just want one, you can win another one. It's no big deal on that. So just so you know, it's a unique code. Let me put this in, and so that'll be the giveaway for tonight. Alrighty, and boom, that should have started it up. All right. So, and BCMI Thieves are boring. They nerfed it big time. Yeah, Mash, you were saying it took progression over 14 levels and spread it to 36. Wow, that would drive me crazy. Yeah, 36 levels of that. Jeez, that is a little bit of a crazy amount there. We've had Thieves since day one, right? We've had Thieves. Thieves have been a mainstay of our campaign, but they've gone through some evolution by class and with some other ideas, and let's share them tonight, and some things that some people have published that have helped, and some ideas you may have, that Matt may have, that Tim may have. I know Tim has some, because I got some of his classes here that he's done that have enhanced Thieves, and we'll just let's spice them up a little bit and hear what your suggestions are for it too out there. So Anna, what are your likes and dislikes on the Thief overall, and whatever edition you play?
Yeah, I think one of the interesting distinctions is in the name itself. It was Thief in 1st edition, and then it changed to Rogue. Was that in 2nd edition, or was it 3rd?
No, it was 3rd.
Yeah, it was 3rd. Yeah, and I think that kind of shows a little bit about the change of the class. In the beginning, it was like someone who steals things, because then mechanically meaning go and do everything from shoplifting, picking pockets to going in and burglary and stuff like that. It was more kind of that role, but then it widened a lot, and it became the sneaky, skillful kind of, not the one that did things with brute force, but tried to do it with finesse and kind of mastered the kind of weird or niche sides of combat rather than the brute force with big weapons and the odds. So that kind of the focus of the class shifted, and it became a broader class that was but and one of the interesting things, go back to Thieves in first edition and second edition too, when they had the ability to use magic items, which was a huge thing exactly back then compared to a lot of other classes. It was always been a kind of a jack of all trade class, because they have some real combat abilities in the backstab or the sneak attack or whatever name you use for that feature, but that they can dole out damage in a way that no other class can, or few other classes. And to me, it's a mystery why fighters can't learn to do that. That has always been to me a mystery. That why them, and to me, I can understand why, because they want to mechanically differentiate the classes, so to speak. So but to me, it's kind of interesting. Yeah. Please.
I always saw the reading of scrolls as, the average low level thief is just like some sort of thug punk, on the street. But then after a while, they get into the higher mysteries and arts of what they're doing, and it includes, like, I'm sure, encryption and secret languages and finding hidden things, and also hiding things and leaving the right clue. So it kind of fits into the higher mysteries of the advanced arts of sneakiness.
Well, if we get on the scroll thing, my thought on that right off the bat is that it's a read magic. It's not just reading common; it's a read magic ability, and the thief has that. That's the difference. That's where I think they were thinking on it. It's kind of interesting because when we play these high level games, usually Walt has these high level thieves, or Tim has one, or whatever, and they throw out these scrolls that I forget that they took from an adventure that no one wanted, and they got devastating 15th level equivalent spells. They're 7th level spells, 15th level ability, and they maze someone, or they freaking delay blast fireball someone. I completely forget, so the thief, it's pretty Gord expanded like that. Well, that's good, Nagoya, because by the way, so Jason Zavoda has been kind enough. He's sending me a complete set of Gord books. So thank you, Jason. We'll see.
Good.
Yeah. So I'm going to start reading them, and we will see Jason. We will see Jason on Wednesday night with the Return of the Grail Bloggers. So
all right.
Yeah, we got Jason, Mike, David Leonard, Tommy John Kelly, and Will, who's not blogging too. So it's going to be a great show. But most of our thieves starting off were what, Tim?
Well,
were what? What were most of
multi-class?
Multi-class, right? When we started in 1E back in the day, most of them were multi-class. Or once in a blue moon, they were what? If they were human.
They were bards?
Yes, they were bards, right? That was yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a thief is a second career in the bard class.
Absolutely. So most of ours early on were one of those two.
Except my very first character, who's still in the game,
who, Leuven?
Leuven is,
but he's a halfling.
Well,
Halflings tended to be the exception because of the way they were set up, because of the Hobbit, right? I mean, the thief. You gotta have the thief, So, yes, it's a Monday night. It's we're on instead of last night. Yes. So, the halfling thief tends to be the best thieves in the game, and the half elf tends to be like the second best for some bizarre reason, except for lock picking and stuff where gnomes are good.
The only thing better than a high level halfling thief is two high-level halfling
thieves, which we have found out many times in our games with Leuven and Sam. Absolutely. But just like anything else, we wanted to get away from all that multi-classing. Not that we didn't love it, but just when second edition came out, I think that's when the change started. So I got the books that make it. You remember Legends of Lore last week? I had a book. I had like 35 stacks. Well, I only have like 8 here, which is good this time. So you get your base player's handbook out, and you got some tables, and they're scrolling through your base tables. And your base thief table's good, but there's some gaping holes in it. And I'm going to pull this up real quick. Like I said, guys, please feel free to give us some input and suggestions here. Thief table, thief table. Here's your base thief ability table, right? That comes out of the original player's handbook. This doesn't account the dexterity modifier, which is in a different spot. So it's annoying that every time, you got to go, I got to go here, I got to go there, I don't have armor on, I got to go here to build up whichever your pluses are. So it's kind of annoying. But this is your base table. And there's some real glaring issues here. I'm going to tell you, Tim, give me one of your beefs about this table. I'm going to tell you my number one beef about it.
Oh,
I have a major one too.
Go ahead, Anna. What's your beef about this? The base thief table from 1E.
It's the same beef I have against a lot of the type of rules when you have an absolute value. You have like at level this, you have a 30% or whatever percentage is to do something, and then it goes up to 2% or something per level. And that seems to be regardless of how difficult the current task is, meaning if you're going to pick a lock, then some locks are a lot easier to pick than others. And that is something that is missing in the first edition. You don't have difficulty classes to overcome, meaning some locks are stupidly difficult. So even a master thief would have a real difficulty with it. And a new beginner can't even conceive of getting it right. And that is the master, they kind of, when you have absolute values, you have so many % chance of doing something. That to me is a limitation in the rules system, so to speak.
It is, but I will always secretly make a modification change and not tell them.
I did too, but I think that should be built into the rules so players understand it, so to speak. I think that's
correct.
I think that's the major limitation.
I think all those represent base values, not adjusted values.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and I've treated them that way always too, but I think that should be obvious in the rules, so to speak.
My biggest beef with those is that they're never high enough at low levels for me when I'm playing a thief character.
Yeah, they
that's
are
true.
So here's my beef. They're too high at high levels. They don't cap.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they should cap, but there should be always a chance of failure. Because, you got the halfling thieves running around at 12th, 13th, 14th level. They're like 90% of every 95.
Exactly. That's why you need to have difficulty classes, meaning simple lock that a master thief can do in his sleep, so to speak. And then the really simple ones that even low-level thieves can fairly easy overcome.
You tone it down by... the more complex the lock, the longer it takes.
True.
It's even
that's true. Yeah.
Even experts with modern locks, which are far more difficult than old primitive style locks. It'll take them a couple minutes sometimes to.
So my number one beef though is simple math on this table, and it regards climb walls. So at 10th level, you're 99%. And you're successful. Why at 11th?
0.1, 0.2, 0.3.
Do you have to roll? If you roll a 99, then I got to roll again in 99.1, and then I'm not. Mm-hmm. You understand? That makes no sense whatsoever.
But that just shows that the system is too limited.
Yeah.
The system can't handle the variation needs to.
Somebody edited it and they're saying, well, I should get at least a little plus up for every level.
It's
kind of
to satisfy somebody.
Yeah. It's cute when you have stuff like that. It's the same thing with strength. You have like 18, 75, 50, whatever. Yeah. And those things are cute in a way, quaint. We can look at, but they just show, but they show the limitations that the rule system's not doing its job properly.
Yes.
But it means that you never get to 100.
Exactly. You never get, but that should be kind of obvious from the beginning. You shouldn't have like arbitrary add-ons to prove what should be part of the rule system's base. And they fix that in later editions, but you can also ad hoc it, meaning you can simply have like a lock difficulty adjuster and say that really simple locks you give plus 20% or 30 or whatever, and really difficult ones you give minuses. But so you can, and that's basically what I did. I just had a secret little table saying that locks of certain difficulties made this table go up and down, and then I kind of explained it to players that had it. But these things should be built into the rule system. But now I'm nostalgic when I see it. It's kind of, it was part of nostalgia. So there is something cute and quaint with it that is kind of positive too.
Nostalgia is the correct word there. Absolutely on this. So another beef I have is why it says right in the description of a Thieves, a high intelligence is helpful. Why is there no intelligence modifiers to read languages? That always bothered me.
That's
Yeah. So I added that in, and I was talking with Steve Fritzma, who played in your Barbarian game, right? On I think one of the sites, one of the Facebook sites, and I were talking about this pre-show. He said he probably couldn't make it tonight to discuss it, but that was one of the ones we discussed. So when this came out, then a few years later, has one of the, in my opinion, one of the most epic fails of a class for this edition. And that's right, Tim. What's that?
The Acrobat.
Yes, the Acrobat is just a mess.
They should just make it another form of Jester.
Yes, or something. It was.
And then you have the subclass, split class, whatever. How do you define the what was the Acrobat? Was it a subclass?
I define it by not using it.
Yeah, the Thief Acrobat. So they say that at 5th level you can change over and you can.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it became like a version, a variant of it. So an archetype, we will call it, I guess, in modern rule systems.
They also have this little table here about modifications to armor on thief functions, and I have Elfin Chain, and then they have padded. But then if you really got that addendum that came out in Dragon, because this thing is full of all sorts of errors, it has all of the armors in here.
Oh, so it opened up for heavy armors too.
Yeah, which I guess for multi-class or whatever, but full plate, And then
Roscoe might want to sneak if he's wearing his field plate.
Right, but then there's a big question. Well, the Thieves aren't limited to leather armor, right, as a class, and that's where a lot of problems arise. Because so back in the day, I said, I have no problem if they are wearing magical Elven Chain, but they're going to take those penalties, I don't want my Thieves running around in plate mail. I don't, and that makes no sense, right? You gotta have stuff that makes sense. Elven Chain is like, supposedly doesn't make sound. It's almost weightless, so.
But that's something they kind of fixed in later editions by making sure that armors give dex penalties.
Right.
Heavy armor, meaning a plate mail is like minus so and so much on dex, which make them virtually non-interesting because they will hamper a thief or a rogue so much, so he would not be beneficial. But a fighter might or paladin might take that dex penalty because he doesn't really need dex that much.
I'm just gonna say something here.
You can't pick pockets in heavy armor. No. You can't
Yeah.
climb.
Yeah.
You can't move silently.
Yeah.
You could hide supposedly if you just didn't move.
Mm-hmm.
You got to the spot and didn't move, but you're not going to be able to. Opening locks, you're going to be trying to squat down to kneel and get in position.
What's up, George?
But I think that's something you should simply add negative modifiers to certain armor, meaning you get so much more difficult doing anything like stealthy things.
They did that.
They
did that, and my guess is they're thinking multi-class. So they're thinking a fighter thief, a human fighter thief multi-class, or some bizarre reason when I have plate mail on, whatever. It's in the book.
Plate mail, and you're trying something. Here's my modifier.
Yeah,
you're not successful.
So
that's why house rules are so important. Meaning,
yes,
you should adapt the rules to what suits your game.
Absolutely, and that's what we have done for the most part in our game. It said that no armor, leather, chain, maybe hide in an instance or whatever, but you're not wearing heavier armor as a thief class. I don't want to see it. Now,
even picking locks, you have to have sensitive. You have to feel the tension in the lock. And you're weighing yourself down with the extra armor, it's going to be very difficult to do that.
Absolutely.
Finding traps, you're trying to be sensitive so you don't set something off. You need to have the sensitivity and touch. You can't be weighed down with a bunch of extra.
There's a lot of, the realism versus, and so, hey, they tried their best, and that was okay. And also, and let me get this out of the way now, because I don't want to talk about this class all night. Alan tried, and it's up now. Tried to create a thief acrobat class that worked. I think we have 2 in the entire campaign. No one wants to play them, so let me throw. But he gave it a shot, and so that their main weapon's the staff, just like in the cartoon. They can backstab, but they're using the staff instead for the most part. Here's some base abilities on it, and then you go down and you go to your modifiers to starting your abilities are here for your base abilities. And I'll put that over there because we got another follower. Thank you. So you have those, and he's thought this out pretty well. They're better to hide in shadows and move silently. Great. And then he has this great table he put together with all of, and it goes a lot longer than this. It goes up to 20th level or whatever for your pole vaulting, your ranges and things, and falling, evasion, all. But it just is. No one wants to play it, and I don't have any problem with it. It's one of those. Okay.
Is it nerfed so much?
No, he did he didn't nerf it really. He did a good job with it. It's just.
I don't think I know in our group, I don't think we just have an interest in the acrobaty, hoppy, jumpy, tightrope walky kind of thief.
That's true. Yeah. Some games like to have like the ones that swing in chandeliers.
Summer Olympics.
Yeah.
It's playable in the Summer Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
So Alan's got a thief acrobat. I think he has 2. One's a multi-class and one's a dual class human. So be it. We have as many we have more player character thief acrobats than we have jesters. All the jesters we have are my NPCs, and that's fine. Some classes are more popular than others, but that doesn't. We have some very popular thief subclasses. And by the way, some of these we're going to share with you are fighter subclasses with a lot of thief abilities, right, Tim? Like the Commando.
Yeah, I'm just going to turn on my fan.
Oh, sure. Is it hot there? So, yeah, Diana. Yeah, exactly. So, but just note, hey, not everything's a home run, but you don't want to say, oh, you can't play it anymore. It's on the list, and so be it. So, yeah. There are spots to use a thief acrobat. There are spots to use especially one of the classes I made up, the Corsair. But they're limited, and when you're like, where are you going to? Except you may climb up a wall here and there, but how often, besides in city adventuring, are you tightrope walking? You know what I mean? It's out in the wilderness. There aren't. It's just. Pole vaulting and things like that, but it's okay.
Be handy in
thank you, SciTech.
White Plume Mountain, hopping from disc to disc.
Well, yeah.
You can have, but I also think it depends a little bit on the play style. Meaning, if you have a theater of mind, it might work really well because you can just conjure up some fun situation where you have it, and if you have like a strict map and use a table and stuff like that, that might limit the imagination when it might be needed or just fun, so to speak. So certain abilities, I think, lend themselves better in certain styles of play, just like in so many other aspects. So that might be a thing too. When you have theater of mind, you can come up with all sorts of fun things that sound cool and like when you read it in a book, but when you see it on a movie screen, all of a sudden it's like, nah, because then physics comes into play in a different way and stuff like that. Certain monsters might be awesome to read about, but to watch them on a movie screen or in a computer game, then it becomes like, it doesn't work that well. And I guess classes and class features can be depending on the style of play.
Yeah, and it doesn't cross our path that much. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
The evasion ability is really cool. Oh, Tom's got one too. How I forgot Tom's.
Yeah.
Tom's got one too. It's just, but hey, it's just, it's a rare class for us.
Yeah,
but
then
that's
you
okay.
have another one interesting, Tim's Commando. It's kind of interesting. You have the more warlike thief, so to speak, the one that is more warlike, more almost towards the barbarian fighter type.
Entry specialist to get into where he needs to kill people.
We're going to get to him. We're going to get to him and Tim's Scout and all the other classes we have. Let's just when second edition came out, they had something I liked in it, and so we go to this book here, and what was it, Tim, with Thieves that they did? It was pretty cool in second edition.
The ability to select where your percentages increased when you went up a level.
Absolutely.
Oh yes, you can dole them out as
Yeah.
you wanted. Yes,
Yes.
that was
so
it.
here is here's the table with the modifiers of assigned stats and all, and the pluses still stayed the same most of the places, but you could do like 30 points up,
Mhm.
but you couldn't put 15% more than in one. So, but hey, what's up, Longshot? Good to see you. What we did was, by the way, we were 100 or a sub away from another hype train. So, just to let you guys know, if we decided always we wanted to keep special things like this 2 straight classes, so we went away, and look at that. Oh, Tim, come on, man. Tim, woohoo! I reset the points assist. It was so high. The month hasn't reset yet, but I was like, we got to start a new month. We got to start a new month up with everything. I was happy to see that this gets used a fair amount, and this makes a lot of our players want to go to the straight thief class. Thanks, Rob. The straight thief class has some benefits, and we want to keep them. Humans almost always, though, end up dual classing even to this day. Correct, Tim? If you're a thief, you tend to want to make this maybe your second class.
Yeah.
Because you want to get the hit points. Who's the most notorious dual class thief in my campaign?
Notorious would be Lord Darius the Deposed.
Yes, the Lord Darius the Deposed, a cavalier thief, dual class.
Ooh. Started
Yes.
out as thief and then became a cavalier.
No.
The other way
Cavalier.
around? Okay.
He's a
He was
Yes.
deposed.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A
That makes
fallen
sense. Yeah.
cavalier, lost all his money. He's chaotic stupid, typical cat neutral character, lost all his money, lost it gambling, lost it womanizing, lost it being irresponsible. And thank you for getting us level 2 on a Monday night. Really appreciate it.
But that really didn't necessarily end him, but he probably lost it militarily too, right? Somebody probably
Yes.
physically kicked him out and took his stuff.
So the fun story of Darius the Deposed, I need to get a portrait of him. I really do. Of Darius is the following. When we did at Tim's Highport adventuring with Skeeve and with thanks Styler, with Skeeve and me, one-on-one with Lord Page was there, and he had it, he had all his Thieves Guild. Alan wanted it on it when Tim came back. I think we were assigned somewhere and he came back for a while. Right? Yeah. So Tim wanted to get Sam involved in this, so he gets a Thieves Guild of thieves up there, just like this is Highport. This is From the Ashes Highport, everyone. Okay, please note this. There is no Pomarge overtaking everything. I have Highport really is a bad place to be, but there is a fair number of humans, in the town, and his Thieves Guild has, and I make up all the thieves. All of Skeeve's thieves, I've written them all up, all individually. And there's about 10 of them. So I make them up for.
You're very loyal.
Yes. I make up Lord Darius the Deposed for Sam. And he's dual class cavalier thief for this story that he is penniless and he has no choice. So he becomes a thief, and he's terrible at being a thief. And whenever he fails a pickpocket attempt, he gets pissed off and he breaks the arm of the person he's trying to pick because he just doesn't get right. So he's in jail all the time. And he's always bailing him out. And Sam's getting more and more angry at him. So it comes that this incident happens. We won't go into this detail, where Sam and Leuven in Highport get their man body part removed by that assassin, and Sam goes, I've had enough of this, and he just flees and leaves. He leaves Highport, and he just flees and leaves all his thieves there. Doesn't say anything to him. He takes off and goes back to he goes back to the Principality York and Altamira.
Screaming into the...
Yes, he leaves his thieves there. Well, Darius doesn't forget this. To this, and he's like, and what is a character neutral who has nothing better to do with their life plan?
Revenge.
So after all these, this is a what 30-year plot line at least, 30 years going on. Turns out that in Altamira, the Thieves Guild there doesn't allow halflings or gnomes or dwarves in it for some reason. And they know nothing because it's a city and Thieves Guilds pop up. Guess who the guild master of the Thieves Guild is in Altamira? And he's there for one reason. He's going to get revenge. He's going to get revenge on Sam and all of his halfling friends. So Lord Darius the Deposed is now, I think, a 7th level Cavalier, 13th level Thief. Yes.
I'd like to make 2 points.
Go for
One, Leuven did not run away like a coward.
Yeah, that's true.
And he didn't have any guild to abandon. And 2, my character got back at that assassin, killed her, and took all her stuff.
Yes.
And made sure she's not raisable. In only the way that he can make sure that she's not raisable.
So, yeah, yes.
My revenge.
The obliteration bit. So, note that dual classing of Thieves is an awesome thing, and Darius is one of my favorite bad guys to play, and that long-term plot is going on to this day. Gentile riposte. Exactly. So, Mephic asked a good question. Can rogues not detect magical traps, or is their percentage halved? It's a good question, because it really is not discussed that much.
I would say no. Magic's hidden. It's not even real. It's just...
I agree. But...
I would say yes.
Okay.
Simply by the reason that thieves have a lot of, and rogues have a lot of other magic abilities, meaning they will understand and see the signs and get the feel and the understand it, so to speak. It's a general ability to detect dangers of various stuff like that. So I would say that doesn't matter the nature of the trap. Maybe some rare planner, whatever, something that is completely out of the box might be more difficult, but I would say that they could detect almost anything that qualifies.
Why? I mean, aside from reading a scroll, because it's the read language abilities, what other magic abilities do they have?
Well, I simply tell it by the nature, meaning if it's there to spring you, and even the magic trap might have to have some sort of detector and detecting device or something in order to spring it, so to speak, and so I would allow it. Yeah.
Well, fire trap is a trap.
Yeah, it might be some ingredients that needs to be in the spot in order for it, the magic to appear or something like that. So and stuff, and they know what, and it might smell or whatever. So I'm ruling it. Yeah,
Anna, that seems very nice of you. I would
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I was expecting you a lot
fine traps is a must.
No, I think I would rule that they would be able to. Yeah,
I usually do this, and I say you don't detect anything, but you get a feeling. Like say they rolled real low on there, but it's magical. Yeah. I will say something like that, and sometimes I'll say that just to make them paranoid, right? Them, but sometimes it'll be but they won't be able to find it. They won't be able to disarm it. For me,
that would depend on meaning some traps. If it's a master trap maker and it's done really, really well, whether it's mechanical or magical, then it would be very, very hard to detect, so to speak, and it might be much more difficult to succeed on the roll. But I would definitely give them a chance.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I guess I look at the magical trap as something that's totally 100% magic, not as a device that has been enchanted to be extra specially deceptive.
Yeah, but even magic leaves its trace, meaning spell casting almost, they have some sort of meaning it's some device, not in a mechanical sense necessarily. And some of them might be divine traps that a god have said that if a certain creature comes there, and they might be the very most difficult at all to detect because they might have zero physical presence. You can come up with devious forms of traps, so to speak, that are more devious than just a delayed fireball when that trips whatever and something. So yeah.
Now everybody out there, you better be writing this stuff down.
Yeah.
DMing, you got it covered.
Yep.
Hey, Daz, a good day from
But I think
Australia.
it's one of
Good
these
to see
things
you.
that the DM, the
Normally on
DM needs to
Sundays.
decide the
It's
nature
Memorial Day,
of the
so.
particular trap, and
Yeah.
also the nature of magic and divine ability and technology and physics, meaning traps touch both the nature of magic at times, and then touch the nature of physics and chemistry in your campaign world, and you need to kind of, yeah, or you can simply arbitrate, just say it, that's the rule, period, no explanation needed,
Well,
and just
No,
steamroll it. Yeah.
The second level clerical spell, Find Traps, is the best spell that there is, really, for the most part. That detects
Yeah.
almost everything, and
And that
so.
comes to nature, meaning can that magically just detect anything? and if it can, then a skilled thief should be able to do what the spell does.
Yeah.
Or should it? I don't know. Yeah.
It's each
tricky.
DM is different.
Yeah.
For me, a thief is not, definitely can't disarm a Glyph of Warding or a fire trap or anything like that. Maybe once in a blue moon they'll sense something, but they won't be able to absolutely detect it. So.
And then you have the other question with passive and active detection, which I kind of have two things, meaning if you just walk through let's say in the heat of battle, and you happen to press something or simply jump into a little alcove or something that has a trap, or you simply run off, you flee down a corridor away from the enemy, or you run to attack someone and there's a trap.
You're not
then I will rule them that's the passive, meaning it's very much harder to detect it. But if you spend an action and do an active search for it, looking for traps, then you will see way more, so to speak. So that you have circumstantial changes that might be even bigger than the nature of the trap.
Tim knows that if he's not actively detecting in my game, he's setting them off, because he always sets off traps.
Okay.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. The best way to keep your fellow adventurers safe is to set the trap off yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. But and 5e introduced I think a great passive perception as a concept in the rules, and I think that's a great one. That passive perception, meaning you always have at least, or usually almost always, like at least a bare minimum of observation in order to preserve yourself. And then when you actively search for something, you can go way higher. And I like that as a rule concept. It's a good.
Once again, that is a DM discretion deal, though, too. And,
definitely.
I can see a lot of arguments going, well, I could have passively detected that. You didn't give me a chance.
I think a multi-class magic user thief would have a much greater advantage of it, I think.
Yeah,
that's my gut reaction.
There's a lot of conjecture, and I would just say that a magic thief is going to have a higher read languages ability, just because I've used the intelligence change in the table itself. So a couple things before we move on to some specific other classes. If you notice on this thief assigned stats for second edition, when I blow this up here, I have added, and you can see it over here, read languages and exclamation point, where they get pluses based on their intelligence. And that's in the far right hand side, and that's to the read languages ability. I think that and I have that for all
read
characters.
Languages, that was kind of reading languages you don't speak, right? That was reading things that you were not,
including magical,
not familiar with. Yeah.
Including magical.
I have a little bit of a problem with that, because I think that should kind of, and now I'm getting into my kind of personal ideas of what should purvey. I think that should fall more into the academic realm, and I see most that should be some, you have to, your character needs to study more in academia and stuff, meaning you need to know your history and linguistics and a whole bunch of stuff like that. That should give that ability, not just being the village scoundrel.
How many times do you walk into a room and there's an archway and there's scribbling around the archway and no one knows what the language is? And in that case, no one's reading it.
Exactly, but that should be someone, linguistics should be kind of a skill that you can spend energy, time, and investment in learning things like that.
Right. Non-weapon proficiencies, though, if we get into that realm,
but that's one of the purviews of the rogue and the thieves, meaning it could be, especially I think in second edition and third edition and onwards, you could spend a lot of those skill points to become an academic rogue or thief, that you can
Indiana Jones.
Exactly. You could spend a lot of it. And in that sense, it makes sense. But then you should need to invest in it should not just be a percentage that goes up with the level each time. It should be like, oh, I need to invest a lot in understanding weird things like cryptography and weird languages and magical inscriptions and stuff. I want them to be more wonderful and more intricate and require more study than just level up in the rogue, and then you just get generally the ability, so to speak. Yeah.
But
that's my flavor of
right,
gaming.
But what I'm surprised at, Anna, is you want to go to 5e and you're describing Pathfinder 2.
Well, yeah. I haven't studied. I have never played a rogue in 5e, so I'm looking at the rules. So yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's cool.
And 3.5 Pathfinder had these kind of knowledge skills and stuff that I really liked. That added a lot of cool flavor.
Tim's got a ton of them in his game.
Yeah, because anyone could learn different things that were really useful. They could give you combat advantages, solve problems, and stuff like that. That anyone could, so to speak. Anyone could study something and get bonus out of it.
I mostly like to use them as a vehicle to tweak additional role playing for different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
that's the best benefit from it.
It's really good to expand out your what you've done as far as a DM, what you want to really concentrate on and enhance and flavor up, and that's a great way to do it. Is with special new abilities and stuff. For me, it's development of the classes. Right, I like the variety. Of having different classes, especially priests and things like that. So the straight thief has mostly died off in our game. Bill, yes and no. Okay, because we were talking about this before you hopped on about how thieves, if you count a dual class thief or a bard, they're still technically triple class for that prestige, and most of our thieves go dual class, except if they're a halfling or something, right? You don't see a straight dwarf thief. I don't know if I've ever seen one. Have you ever seen one, Tim? I don't remember seeing a single player character, straight dwarf thief or a straight gnome thief.
I even made a nasty NPC dwarf.
It's cool. It's cool.
He's a fighter thief, but he's still more. He's just a stingy little thief.
Yeah. So, Bill's correct on that. Now, one of the stats that's missing in the base set, our great friend wrote an article about it, and that's Leonard Lakofka, and we use it to this day. And it's called The Thief: A Special Look. I think it's originally from 47. What Dragons is from? I got to look it up. But this is Best of the Dragon, Volume 3. Dragon 47, The Thief: A Special Look, examining abilities old and new. And, okay, I can find and remove traps, but how do I set traps?
Mm-hmm.
It's really never discussed. So, with the combination of our bounty hunter who does a lot of trap setting, we incorporated Len's article into this. Maybe it was, yeah, exactly. Dwarf thief, like some demi-human races, you never see the straight thief, but that's okay. So let me blow this up a little bit. Here's the table that Len created. Now, setting traps is a lot easier than finding or removing them, obviously, because you're putting them down. But if you fail by 21% on your roll, above 21%, you set the trap off on yourself. So here's the trap for it. And if you ever play my games, you'll see the character sheets. There's a set traps spot, and that is from this Len Lakofka article. God rest his soul. Another great contribution that Len brought to D&D and to our game. So yeah. And we're getting close at 5,000. We're going to give another Best of the Dragon Volume 3 away with this article in it. So there you go. I love the ability. Tim, do you incorporate this in your game, or do you?
I do. Actually, it took me a while. I didn't know where the stat was coming from, so I had incorrect stats. Actually, once you were like, "This is not correct," and it's because I didn't know what the Dragon magazine was. So obviously, I hadn't used it very much, but
yeah.
But I mean, it's hard to actually set up a good trap.
It is, but I'll give you an example.
You can rig up a crossbow trap though pretty easily.
Or a sound maker trap is very easy to set, right? So you're in an encampment and you want to set up a sound maker trap or something, or a snare, Hey, and here's a good percent to do it. When I played my second time, I DM'd at um, PAX Unplugged, which is this is 2018. Before anyone had gone with me, I had my second group. I had a young guy. He was like 18, and he played Fritz. And he went up ahead where all the undead come out of that trap area that you set off, and he said, "Can I set up? Can I hide? And can I set up a trip trap so that when they come in, they, I can get a couple of them?" I was like, "Wow, that was a great idea." I was like, "Sure," and he did it, and it worked. And I was like, really cool that someone was thinking about doing those kind of
Set up
things.
a tanglefoot, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, which was great. I was so happy to see it. But so just note that is Leonard saw that hole in the game and he filled it.
Yeah.
I don't know what they've done ever since then. Have they changed the base stats up as they go up from third, fourth, and fifth edition? I'm assuming they don't have them split out as much.
No, I just used the same percentage as removal was making a trap or set it up. It was
Okay.
the same. I just simplified it to that because
Okay.
I think some traps are as easy to set as they remove, and some are more difficult, some are easier depending on the nature of the trap. Some are very difficult to make and
Yep.
easy to remove, and vice versa. So depending on, like, snares are probably not that difficult to set, but they're also not that difficult to remove. So I think it averaged out. So I never dove deep into it. So I just used the
Okay.
same. Yeah.
And once again, it's just one of those things. That article caught my eye. And
Yeah. And it's
here's a
cool.
funny
Yeah.
thing, Anna. Len comes on the first time on Gabbin all that time ago. I didn't even know he wrote that article. And it's been in my book.
That's
I
true.
swear to
Yeah,
God, I did
you
not know.
just used it
I just used
and
it.
never thought it. Yeah, never looked really at the.
It's in here, and I'm like going through.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit, he wrote this article,
Yeah.
and I was shocked that it was Len's, because I knew about the Archer and I knew about
Yeah.
the Deathmaster, and that was just like, wow.
And that was also a time, early days of the game, where rules were
Yep.
more hard coded, so to speak, and the game was more about, because it had the war game roots where everything
Yep.
is regulated, and
Yep.
if there is not a rule, you can't do it. And then the game have become over time more kind of RP, and you can kind of, and the hard rules have become more of a scaffolding, not for everybody. There are
Right.
groups who, if it's written that way, that's how we do it, so to speak, and you have hard interpretations. And I think that's just a matter of taste, not a matter of right and wrong. It's how hard you want to go by the rules, so to speak.
Yeah, true, very true.
Yeah.
So when you look at, like, and I did this, I think, when we did Delving into Thieves a while back, Gabbin 52, and Bill's got a good point here. I go through and I have all these, like, I wrote up a lot of characters.
Yeah.
They're probably, a lot of them haven't gone up even since then, but
Yeah.
he's correct. Most of them, most of these are multi-class, like, or they're special, like the Thug. We got 2 Thugs in the game now, we got that class, which is basically a kit from second edition, put in the third edition player's handbook, the player's guide that we've back done the first edition. But most of them are multi-class for the most part. But there are specialty classes that aren't. So wait, do you reduce the skill set for thieves who do not use a skill for a while and then go with it without role playing practice or skill development?
Yeah.
I can't. Dragon with 2,000 characters in the campaign, it's hard to do. I can't get into that detail level. I have 26 different adventuring groups. I can't. I would go. I can't remember that. I can't do that.
Yeah.
If I had 2 groups, we had 2 group of characters, and we alternated them, but every 6 months it'd be a different story. But that level of detail, is not. I can't get into it like that.
Yeah. It's an interesting question, but that's something I wouldn't hard code into rules or anything in my campaign, but I might add it for flavor, meaning if someone a character rolls real bad in whatever skill and we haven't used it in a while, then I will simply say, oh, that goes bad because you haven't done it, and then you can kind of add flavor to what happens spontaneously in the game, so to speak. I might they say, oh, you fumble and something real bad happened, that is normally not something that is written in the rules if someone is using their ability or feature or whatever it is the first time, so to speak. So
it's a good chance too, if a thief was raised from childhood and was forced by their boss, who was like, the corner boss who would whoop their ass if they didn't figure out how to pick a pocket correctly, and they would practice over and over, practice blindfolded, practice and do all this stuff. I mean, it's easy to say, oh, they just kind of do this clever stuff with the quickness of hands. It's a severe discipline to be able to learn to do the various, sleight of hand things that they do. And it requires, it's a profession, it's a real career, and it's a real, so even if they don't pick a pocket for a while, they probably have that, that muscle memory from having to reach into a bucket of warm water and pick up a bar of soap with their fingers like this to practice pulling wallets out,
Well,
that's what they do now. It's what the modern kids do. They'll be practicing doing that sort of stuff.
Rhetorical question back. All right, so the fighter, he hasn't used his bow in a couple of ventures. I can't.
Oh yeah, exactly. I think it needs to be a general rule. If you have it, it shouldn't affect everything.
Between adventures, they should be fine-tuning their equipment. They should be, sparsing things up, repairing things. This bow's frayed, this string's frayed. They're gonna get a new string. Get their armor patched.
Exactly. I just assume that the characters
get
work on things. Yeah.
Train. Yeah. You assume a level of training in between. You have to. Like I said, for me, it's out of necessity with the amount of characters that we have in our campaign.
Well, we don't need to. We don't need to make it a simulation. We want it to have a little bit of realistic feel to make it fun, but it's not needing to be a simulation.
Agreed, Styler. Agreed on that one. Good question. though. Good point. So let's tackle the other question of tonight that we were going to discuss, and that is to assassinate or not. Going back to first edition. And then we'll open up this up to some of the new classes, the other classes that we use. Second edition removes them entirely, and Zeb Cook told us why, right? He told us in that discussion that he's like, I think it was a direction we didn't want to go. Thank you, Patrick. I see a place for assassins, though. So what are your...
Oh, yeah, Jay, we know.
Yes, I have no problem with assassins in my game. I think removing assassins takes a fear aspect out of the game. I think I love the assassins guilds. I love the assassins.
If you've ever been a player in Jay's game and had one of your characters permanently killed by an assassin, raise your hand.
I've killed a bunch of NPCs.
They don't count.
I've killed a lot of characters from assassins. Assassins are meant to be scary.
But Gridley's brother came back, so it's all right.
Yes. Look, the Assassin's Knot is a Len Kafka adventure that's in the top 30 adventures of all time from that rating, right?
Allegedly.
What are you going to call it? Yes. If it's not the Assassin's Knot, the bad guys not, or whatever. They're assassins,
No, they're assassins. Yeah, I think, assassins could be just people...
I know that's where
it doesn't have to be a class. It could be somebody who's just paid to go and murder people. It's just that the class is just their specialization is the
killing outright.
It's basically 007s. Their specialization is to spy and
spying is part of the assassin as well.
Yeah.
Like 007, License to Kill. He's an assassin.
We've had this discussion. We had this discussion on Cannon Fire's Discord the other night.
Yeah. But one interesting aspect that didn't come up in the Cannon Fire discussion either that I think is interesting. I think that there's a reason it was in the first edition of AD&D, because I think it's very suitable when you go back to the wargaming roots of the game, so to speak. I think it makes sense to have like a counter that could do nasty stuff that way and circumvent rules and or like have its own special rules in combat and stuff, because that's basically what the assassin, because he has basically a table that he can roll on to just dispose of someone. Fighters never get that. No other characters get that chance to simply do that, so to speak. You circumvent the whole combat scenario, the whole encounter situation by just having a table like that. And to me, that I think that goes against the nature of the game, because combat and stuff, meaning you can have like a wizard can cast hold person and then simply use the dagger to kind of stab into to death.
I allow that.
Yeah, exactly. But that doesn't circumvent the rules. Meaning, then you cast a spell, you have initiative and so on and so forth. But here you have a rule that is just circumventing the one of the pillars of the game, and I can see that in more kind of wargaming routes, I think it makes sense to some degree. But I think it's kind of from a mechanic, it's just one of these things that kind of screw over the game in a way that I don't like.
Okay.
That's one of my first caveats with that class. Yeah. Fighters should have that training too then. If all their training is to basically disable people in the battlefield, they should have that training too.
Well,
They're not
I don't
assassins.
think that percentage. I mean, we use it in the game as usually it's usually associated with a weapon attack from surprise,
Yeah.
but the actual percentage could be an assassination where they have set up, they know the person's pattern and timing, and they know they're going to be walking on this narrow path over which there is a large boulder, and they can
Yeah.
arrange for that to
Mhm.
fall on them
Yeah.
and kill them, and,
Yeah.
and they're not in combat, but that would still be
There's a skill set
satisfied
to
by a
it.
percentage.
Yeah, but I would have been perfectly fine if they dealt with it like, okay, if your character can strike from surprise and then have sneak attack ability, then you get that much extra, so to speak, meaning you get like a
There's
plus
another
5 to
thing.
hit, and you do this much more damage. You get that on the first attack period. But if your victim survives that, then it's normal combat, so to speak. And
Well-
and so I think it should be within the normal rules. I don't
okay.
like it when you circumvent the rules that way, especially not combat. That is the life and death situation. Yeah.
Well, we can agree to disagree on that.
Well, yeah. It's play style. Yeah.
I don't think I've live stream assassinated, if at most, one character in 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't overuse them. 2, if an assassin fails, they're in a world of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
They are going to
Yeah.
get the crap beat out of them, whatever, especially if it's a high level character. Because, no. So thief, backstab, and assassination are two different things. So an assassination backstab is when they do a surprise attack, it's like a backstab, but they don't get the multiple damage percent. It's dead normal weapon damage. So they're in big trouble if they're not. And if they're assassinating one character in a group of 10, and it's just them, they're in trouble too, right? So there's times and places. I like using the assassin in league with the assassins guilds and the intrigue that's going on in a city somewhere. That's where I think they serve their
I like the
purpose.
assassins that nobody knows who they are, or
Exactly. The
there's no
rumors.
person that's going to attack you. You don't have any
Maybe
idea, and you never know. And so I generally don't use the melee assassinations. Usually
You're more, especially with you and the anti-paladins too, with all their special ways, because they can backstab too.
poisoning people. Yeah.
Yes. But if you notice on the table here, and let me blow this up a bit. So this is the original from the Dungeon Master's Guide table. All right. With levels and stuff and levels variations. But if you notice on the table, and I have typed up here, assassin kill outright upon success. Bounty hunter. I don't know why it says bounty hunter. Oh my God, there's a typo from 35 years ago, Tim. Render unconscious for 2 to 8 terms. So we do have our own bounty hunter class that I developed. That and the necromancer were the first 2 classes going way back. So we have a class specifically so you don't have to worry about playing a.
Well, I think there's aspects of
assassin.
the assassin we like, but we just don't like the outright evil of just being paid to murder people.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
the bounty hunter
Fun
kind of is
character.
like a great adventurer, when you're generally trying to be good.
And they can be evil too. So their goal is to bring someone back for justice, or there's capture and bring back alive for the most part is what they are doing. The bounty hunter class, the main guild of bounty hunters is in Altamira, and that fits right. So we know a lot of the bounty hunters in our campaign, and they got abilities just like, but they use blunt weapons, and they get magical set traps as well, abilities. And it works. It works for our campaign. So there you go. And they can do hold persons and slow traps and things like that. So, and you can multi-class the character too. So I like the bounty hunter. It works very well. We've had bounty hunter mage, fighter bounty hunters, straight bounty hunters, a lot of great personalities out of that. OSC Advanced has assassins, and they use a +4 to hit if successful with target roll. So they get a death magic save. Well, that's good instead of an outright kill. So that's a good happy medium. Do they have the option to kill if they choose to? Is that great? Bounty hunters, no.
Well, I mean, once the guy's unconscious.
Well, yeah, absolutely, but they can't outright kill on a hit. They can knock on. They can knock unconscious. Yep.
Well, they could if they criticaled and then.
Oh yeah, and they got multiple damage and stuff but they can't outright kill on that attack. But they can do whatever they want with someone who's unconscious, right? But it's not an outright kill. It's a happy medium that we set years ago. Once in a blue moon, I will allow a multi-class assassin in my game, particularly Bill the Master Crafter tends to play them here and there with Shadow Mage mix, and I like to do it just as a test too, to see how it comes along, and we've had no issues with it for the most part. And Joe Selby was playing a straight assassin, if you remember. He wanted to play an assassin. I was like, okay, you can play an assassin. So there you go. So, but other classes now beyond these, as does anyone have any questions about the assassin? Crack Assassin, Shadow Mage Assassin are the two Bill has. Bill has two of them because Bill's special, right? Everyone. Any other assassin questions or bounty hunter questions or general thief questions to this point? Yeah, you're special. So please tell me that we got two 3D printers up and running now finally, because we did get a second one, and yes.
Yeah.
So you want to adjust the assassination table downward? I'm assuming Shane is Crimson Death. Shane, is that what you want to do? Is the percentages are too high? Is that what you think? I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on that. So for me, the table's fine where it is. I make adjustments to it, and I don't even tell them.
Yeah, for me, it's a great table to use when one NPC want to kill another NPC. You can kind of just roll on a similar table to see if they were successful or not, meaning the political assassination and stuff like that. As long as it doesn't involve the characters directly, you can circumvent a whole bunch of rules and just, if you as a DM want to introduce some uncertainty in your campaign and not just decide that assassination attempt going to succeed or fail because that's what you like to have in your story, and if you want to introduce it, you can use a similar table just to see, so you can surprise yourself as a DM by introducing uncertainty. I do that. I rarely have a story that I know. I simply, okay, that will be an attempt, and then I roll to see if, and sometimes I let the players roll, and then I'll see if that attempt succeeds or not, and then the story will fork one way or the other depending on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense for behind the scenes to move stuff along fast.
Yep.
I just noticed something, and Bill and then Tim, I just noticed that in this list, Tom has a lot of straight thieves. He's got Rumple Foreskin and he's got Skeet, right? He's got a straight gnome thief and he's got a straight halfling thief. And he's got thief acrobat too. So he likes the thieves straight away.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of players be well. Once again, when it comes to that assassination table, just like anything, you use it sparingly, but you use it when you need to. So if someone hires a high-level assassin for some reason to go after a party, there you go in the course of gameplay. But yeah, they are very old too, Bill. You're correct. But for the sake of just assassinating someone, that takes the fun out of it. Just to kill outright people. Yeah,
or when the Assassin's Guild is part of the secret police of the of the people ruling whatever they're ruling.
So my guess is in Tim's campaign, his City State of the Invincible Overlord, there are a lot of assassins that I don't know about that the Overlord has. Am I correct? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they are basically. I want to say, yeah, he runs it because they do whatever he says. He's the #1 client.
Exactly. I can see that, and that's those kind of societies that would happen. Every leader should. Not every.
They're also kind of in a cult. So there's a high secret, religious,
but yeah,
allegiances as part of it. So they're, they're believers in their thing. So they're not easy to trick into doing other stuff because they're so
yeah.
dedicated.
Yeah, I would have that in my game. There's a lot of assassins, but not from a class gaming mechanics perspective, but
Okay.
from an in-game, meaning they might call the king might have a special group of assassins, that meaning that fighters can strike from in secret and dispose of people and other creatures that the ruler doesn't like, so to speak. And some of them might work for money, meaning you can have a guild or a cabal or a cult of creatures of that works from big city, who simply, if you want to get rid of someone, pay them money and they go and do it. But that is not from a gaming perspective. That's from a campaign, meaning that they can label themselves assassins, that they can be rogues, fighters, even barbarians or whatever, so to speak, or a combination of class, probably a lot of multi-classed characters to take those jobs, because it requires a wide range of capabilities.
That could be their job, but not necessarily their.
Exactly, it's a job description, not a class, so to speak, and it doesn't have to do with game mechanics. But sneak attack is probably a good thing to have, so to speak, and so could be some spellcasting abilities might be very handy too.
So Dragon just asked, do I add City State in my Greyhawk world? No. So Tim, if you haven't seen it, Tim, we haven't had one in a while. Tim DMs his City State. I have two characters. I have Dervilia, a 13th level Cavalier, and I have a poor man's Gazumba, a Kixano fighter clerk mage. And that, and so once in a blue moon. I think we've streamed it like 6 times over 3 years.
And that party actually was my attempt to get everybody to sign up to do a thief class.
Yes, except for me, because I was.
Me and Walt did. So we had 4 characters that had thief classes, and then
and Marco didn't, and
Mark didn't want to. So didn't. But I mean, that really changed the way the party moves, because half the party can like sneak up on stuff.
Right. Absolutely. So that is where we get our City State game. So it is a crazy. It's super high level, and it's crazy, and it's just nuts. It's nuts, man. And I've only ever had 2 characters.
And it's a very rare occasion I get to scare Jay occasionally.
Yeah. We ever played the Thieves Guild game system? No, I have not. So Robert Ashman, Thieves Guild had its own game system. That's pretty interesting. Have not done that. Good question. Yep, scaring me. Yeah, I was scared shitless one of the last times we played. Actually, it was 2 times ago, if I recall correctly.
Kixano was like, "I am never going back to the city
ever
again.
I'm not going into City State ever again." It's just you're just looking for dying there, or someone capturing you and putting you in a basement somewhere and doing awful things to you. So
telling you, they're terrible.
I love Thieves Guild Adventurers. We have our company, the Great Company, a group in. We haven't played them in a while. It's hard to DM. It's very hard to DM. Sandboxing in cities is tough in a miniatures game. It is, but we just haven't done it in a while. And we should get back to it. Intrigue between thieves guilds and bounty hunters guilds and assassins guilds. There's warring going on now between Greyhawks guilds and the Harby guilds. That's going on. Throw in the Divers Guild in there now, and you have some good intrigue. Exactly. Yeah, thanks, Bill.
I think the guilds and the conflicts, and just the way criminals work and how they have their territories, and how I just think that's a great way to spice up the whole thief class thing, because what gang do you belong to, and that changes how you're going to interact with all those ne'er-do-wells. And plus, they're a bunch of dirty, rotten liars. They're not going to.
That's so true.
They're going to. There's the professional ones that'll tell you what's information, if there are information brokers. But there's so many things you can do with the way the crime syndicate kind of works, how the individual gangs work against each other, what they do to freelancers that come in and do thieving stuff. If you have like somebody who likes to just rob people all the time, player character, just have the local thieves guild get onto them. See how that goes.
Thieves are great with organized crime in cities and fantasy settings, especially in Greyhawk. So what I put here is a piece sliced out from all my grand class table, and those X's are all via race. And I think thieves can every class, every race except for the half ogre can be them. Then there's thief acrobat. The tilde mark after the thug, assassin, and jester, or you need special approval by the DM to do it. Then you have your bounty hunter, and then these are actually fighter classes. Your bandit and corsair are technically fighter subclasses, but with a lot of thieving abilities, which we'll discuss. And then the swashbuckler, which is a frontal fighting for the most part thief. And Tim's got the scout and commando in his game as well. So they're the ones we need to, as far as spicing up your thief goes, we do have some custom classes, and we'll discuss them. It's funny because my experience, pickpocketing is used so rarely. It's kind of what gives us these lenders in a D&D setting. It is used sparingly because just running around pickpocketing everyone in a marketplace, when you think about it, you're going to eventually get noticed, right?
It's a low level when they're desperate for money.
Yeah.
Kind of once you leveled up, you don't need to go around doing that. Meaning that then you go and yeah. And also, it's more like good-hearted, meaning if you're evil enough, then wait at night and just kill the bastard and take all the stuff, because that's probably less risky than to go around pickpocket during midday. It's more like something you do when you're young and desperate, or in certain situations.
If you pickpocket them once, you could pickpocket them again later. So that's also, you want to kill your meal ticket.
Exactly. Yeah, you want to. Yeah. So, but it's, and it's also something you do when the justice punishment is not that harsh, even if you get caught, so to speak. It's more civilized countries will probably have it.
And what's really good too is so they successfully pick this really rich looking guy's pocket. And you get away with it. Yay for you. Except the Thieves Guild contacts you and says, hey, he's off limits. And they're wondering why you're doing some freelancing in their territory and robbing people who pay protection money.
Yes.
So now you're going to, instead of the law, it's the guild you're going to have to be involved to.
It's
something are they going to make you do, or what are they going to take from you, or what? I mean,
it's something. Pickpocket is something you do in civilized countries where the punishment is not that harsh, and you can operate, and they will not be. But in places where they're more evil, whatever, then, and also there is also the risk if you get caught, you have the same conundrum that the assassin have. If you go after the wealthy in kind of evil hardened realms, so to speak, then the wealthy will have bodyguards and really capable ones, and they will chop your head off and put your pieces outside their gates to prove what they do with bastards that go around trying to steal. Meaning they will look very harshly. They will see it as a disturbance of power, meaning you attack the powerful, and it will be, oh, you can go and steal the poor ones in the market, and no one will do much for it, so to speak. So
aside from playing in the game Hide the Slug with the high level thieves, where they're basically, instead of picking a pocket, they're planting something on each other.
Yes, exactly. That's a very interesting plot point.
He only pickpockets enough to pay for his beer. And that's it. He doesn't really.
And you can do it to kind of impress someone, or kind of do something that scares them rather than actually attack them. You can steal something and then come and in order to threat them, and then you come back and simply say, well, you left this one here, so to speak, and or something to scare the bejesus out of them. So you can steal something from someone's home and then come back. So yeah.
So planting of stuff there's magic items that like I know there's this pearl we have in the game that you can use, and it's almost like one of those playing a bug on someone. You can actually hear what the conversation's going on. I think one of Alan's characters has it. I think that doesn't his gnome in Greyhawk City have it, Bill? And he plants it on them, and to see what's going on in a conversation. So that happens.
That's a great magic item.
Yeah, and you can also do nasty stuff. Meaning you can put like a magic aura. Someone is wealthy might put a magic aura on its wealthy stuff, and then he can search for it and see it, and then find out what happened to it, and he can kind of follow it, and that way they can kind of see and notice if someone steals
serious stealing. If you steal some heavy-duty magic from someone wealthy, you better be gone.
Well, it's not magic. They put it on a mundane item, so it will just be a way to trade. It just like you would put a GPS thing on your car if someone steals it, so you can go back and see. And basically what you do is that you put something there that looks kind of so and so valuable just to find thieves, and then you go after them, meaning it's like one of these honey traps, so to speak,
Right.
in order to
Or
find them.
try to fence it, and then you get nabbed and you're brought in to see the head thieves
Yeah.
guild, and when you show up, you find out it is that rich guy.
Yeah, exactly. And you stole it from someone who has the protection from the Thieves Guild, and then you're in trouble and stuff like that. So,
Last thing, you sometimes you want to make sure you don't piss the wrong person off. That's always the issue.
Yeah.
And that's why if you do stuff in a city and you're a thief and you're not a member of the Thieves Guild, you're looking for trouble. Because if the Thieves Guild finds out, then you're in big,
Yeah, but it also depends on I see Thieves Guilds have different purposes, meaning if you take a good lawful society, the Thieves Guild are truly outlaws. They are there to protect each other and run as a secret criminal organization, and in order to help each other and make the odds of do crime, so they can take on bigger assignments and do bigger heists and stuff like that, and it will be easier to evade the law if you do it. And then you have cities that are notoriously run by thieves, like Greyhawk and others, and then the Thieves Guild are not an outlaw organization. They are de facto running the city, and then the Thieves Guild takes on a completely different thing. Then I think that the role of the Thieves Guild is more like that's the ruler's IRS, in a way that you pay your taxes and pay a dues here, or we will send our tax collectors, so to speak, meaning the thieves out and skin you and basically take everything from you. So it's used to regulate the city. Yeah,
the Thieves Guild runs the gambling hall and the place.
Exactly. They are the commercial hub, and they are the powerhouse of the city, and then they are the law.
Insurance.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, they are the law running, rather than running it this outside the law. And then there's in between, meaning there's might be cities that are half corrupt, that the Thieves Guild can get along with certain things by bribing certain political officials or rulers, and so on.
Or
so
maybe the magistrate is one of them.
Oh yeah, or one of them, and so on, and they're trying to get in more. But that means that the other powers of the city might all of a sudden go out, and if they find a thief, they will go out and start hunting down the thieves as organized criminals, and it might be very, very dangerous to be a member of the Thieves Guild, and it becomes an open civil war, a hidden civil war kind of thing.
That's where the subterfuge, smaller cell insulation between cells is really the way you spice up that interaction.
Yeah.
You know,
it's run like a terrorist movement or a resistance movement or something. Yeah.
They don't know who the head is. They just know, hey, there's these people here, and you know this one little group.
Yep.
That makes it more, that adds intrigue, and also keeps them from being able to target everybody. So if you take out one small cell, it's not the whole group.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Yeah, you should have all these kind of variants should be in your campaign world, from the ones that the city run by thieves and the Thieves Guild is the power, to the ones that then they're just that underground thing, to that whole range in between, so to speak. So yeah.
And it does vary between cities, and a lot of the Greyhawk, the cities in the world of Greyhawk, are not developed to that point where you don't know. The three main cities I use, Hardby, Greyhawk, and Altamira, are, and obviously there's a very strong Thieves Guild in Greyhawk, and an Assassin's Guild in Greyhawk, and there's a weaker Thieves Guild in Hardby, which is at war with the Greyhawk Guild.
Yeah, there you have the. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, there you have it from in the first Gord book. What happens is that when the Thieves Guild in Greyhawk becomes the power, so to speak, then all of a sudden, and they have the law, and if people pay their taxes and the wealth pay their taxes, that basically takes away the market for job opportunity for a lot of thieves. And all of a sudden, there is like a job opening to start stealing from the high and mighty who now sitting on the rules to become the outlaw. And that's basically what the beggar thieves are. So you have two competing Thieves Guild, one running the city and the other one being the outlaw and the starting fight. And that's what Gary Gygax writes about in Saga of Old City, that the struggle between two Thieves Guild, the one that is in power, running a large part of the economy and the political system of the city, and then the outlaws that are more kind of the traditional Thieves Guild that operates outside the law as a criminal organization. But in people's mind, I think a lot of people in Greyhawk will probably see them both as criminal networks, one making the laws and the other one's breaking them. But that doesn't mean that neither of them are good or lawful, but one is setting the rules, so to speak, and the other one is breaking them. And it's a very interesting intrigue in that book.
Yeah, and I need to really get up
Yep.
on a lot of the details, because when it comes to when you get to the Free City Grail box set and you get post those books,
Yep.
the Beggars Guild is now working back again with the Thieves Guild, because
Mhm.
that war's
Yep.
over, and all
Yep.
those beggars in that guild
Mhm.
were all slaughtered.
Yeah.
And so
You can have big cities where Thieves Guild run different quarters, meaning one part of the city is run by one guild and another part of the city is run by another guild, and then they have turf war of where that border should be, and
would absolutely happen.
yeah, and some of the poor businesses that end up on that street, they get extorted by two sets of thieves, and the hapless city guards might be caught up in between, or they might want to suppress both of them, or whatever. So yeah.
The series Rome in the second season, when they're running kind of the crime in the streets of Rome.
Yep.
Vicious.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
And
so there's a lot of. Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, real nasty. It's real nasty.
Yep.
I mean, it's a glamorized version. D&D has a glamorized version. It's very.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, but it's a lot of interesting campaign opportunities and openings,
Sure.
and you can twist things and stuff like that. You can spice up your campaigns by not making it stereotypical the same in every city, meaning some cities run this way, some other cities run a complete other way. So yeah.
Name the two Thieves Guilds in Altamira.
Oh, I don't know.
There are two.
Tim? Yeah.
Tim.
Well, one is the Spunk, right?
Yes, Spunk is there along with Lord Darius the Deposed.
Sword People's Union for Nefarious Kleptomaniacs.
Oh, okay. So what are the differences in their roles and what how they?
And the other one's Lord Darius. I don't know.
Well, Spunk is there because no halflings, gnomes, or dwarves are allowed.
So they started their own guild in order to.
Well, Spunk is in Dragon Magazine, and Spunk is Euban Had. Right, the great Euban Had there, the 20th level halfling thief who created Spunk. It's basically a spoof article, one of the funniest ones. I think it's Dragon 60.
It's one of the April numbers.
Tim, talk about that real quick. I'm gonna look, see if I can find Euban.
Well, he's almost like a demigod, or he's a hero.
Open file.
He's a
there we go
20th level thief with like
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
and I guess he came into a town and got power because there was an anti-paladin terrorizing everybody. And when the paladin was riding past the fountain where a bunch of hairy-footed children were playing, his saddle strap broke and he fell off. And before they could recover him out of the fountain, they found he fell on his sword and dagger 26 times.
Yes. No, he fell out of the upper story window twice.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. It's a great story. It's hysterical.
After being tied to a chair and taking poison.
It's a great story. And so we've always had Spunk in our campaign in the background, but now Spunk sees this guild that doesn't allow the short demi-humans in, so they're going to do something about it. I'm just building up to something grandiose at one point, like I always do. Onto a steel fence twice. Exactly.
What's the other one called?
Well, it's Darius's guild. It's really not just the main Thieves
Guild. Does it have a name?
I never gave it a name because, like, the Thieves Guild of Greyhawk doesn't really have a name either.
Guild.
No, some of them they don't want to have names. Yeah.
What was that, Tim?
They don't want to have a name.
Yeah.
It's called the city council in some cities.
Yeah.
The Bloods, the Crips.
Absolutely. All right, so why don't we discuss? Well, we got about a half hour. We discuss some of the great classes that Tim has put together and that I have put together to go with some other ideas for your thieves. Sounding like a plan here. So, Tim, let's talk about the Scout first, because that is an actual thief subclass.
The
Here's your
Scout
article.
is a thief subclass.
That was what in Dragon, wasn't it?
It was. I changed it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The one in the Dragon magazine kind of had a back protection and some other stuff, but they took the teeth away from it, where he didn't get a backstab bonus, and I was like,
oh, okay, yeah.
A scout is like an elite sort of person, And so the ability to have a little teeth and be able to do something like backstabbing is important to me. So I kind of fit that back in there. But they're just really super good at tracking and sneaking, hiding, being
It's a bit
quiet.
like a ranger thief in a way, I
right,
guess.
but they
Yeah.
don't they don't
Uses non-weapon
pick
piercing sword, too.
pockets. I don't think they have open locks. I can't remember that part, but
Oh, I just had it there. Let me pull it back
yeah.
up. Just double check.
I will take more like a
They have open
wilderness
locks.
thief.
They have
that-
open
yeah, they have
locks.
open locks, but
Oh,
they
okay.
don't pick pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
They don't read languages.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense to have more like an outdoorsy wilderness frontier kind of
Yes.
Yeah.
sneaky character. Yeah.
So it's a good class. Tim's developed his character. Finder is the only one in my campaign because he's in that. He's in the Ulick Pathfinder group, and you'll see that heraldry of with the tree and the sword that we have. So that's the one that's in test at Tim for an anti-paladin. Would that be natural causes? But yeah, well, yeah. I'll trust me. Anti-paladins are Tim's mainstay there, right, Tim? Tim is the par excellence as far as playing anti-paladins as NPCs.
I
Definitely.
try to.
Yes. Dragon 73 comes to a class that I love. And that is the bandit. And I've incorporated this into my game a lot. We have a lot of characters that are bandits. Bandit is almost like a ranger thief as well. They are technically a fighter subclass, and they do get some thief abilities. They don't get anywhere near as good as a regular thief, but they can move silently, hide in shadows outside, set traps. They do get some weapon specializations, and it's a good mix if you have in an outdoor. Yeah, ranger thief's a fun one too. And Anna, isn't your new character near a ranger thief?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
see, Anna has a ranger thief in her new
Yeah.
one in the Greenwood group. She
I
has
think
that
it's
ranger
yeah, I
thief,
think it's kind of cool. But
Yeah.
a thief class that I would like to see would be the thug. That will be a thief that has the backstab and have none of it's stealth and backstab and then skip the rest.
You mean
None
like
about
this?
yeah, exactly. Meaning none of the pickpockets, none of the open locks or any of the magical abilities. Skip all that. It's all about dealing damage and be stealthy. So it's basically a fighter with backstab and stealthy abilities. That's kind of a class that I think would be kind of an obvious one. And
Well-
then you can have a wilderness version of it too. That will be a ranger archetype. A ranger that can backstab. That's another, I think, kind of obvious thing. That will be kind of a scout version, meaning that the outdoorsman who knows how to take care of enemies close up, meaning backstab and otherwise just do a ranger without backstab. Take away some of the spell abilities and stuff from ranger and give them backstab.
We have the thug. It's a kit that's gone
Yeah.
back. I have a one-player character, Rafiki, Waltz, half orc, and Fritz Winchester's a thug too. So
Mhm.
there you go. And
Yep.
he doesn't really pick pockets ever, and he put all his stats into hide in shadows, move silently to get
Yep.
those abilities. So it's very hard to find him during a fight. But they have to be straight class. They get pluses to hit with weapons. They can backstab still. So yeah, it's got its place, but toe to toe in combat, they don't hold their own with a fighter, and that's the way it should be. But
Mhm.
it's a good class to have as far as changing it up a little bit from a straight thief. They got more of the force end of it, right?
Yeah.
They're being forceful. Up now is the Swashbuckler, which I created this before way before 5e existed, and that was more of a
It's like a thug with style.
yeah, it's more of one of those
I don't know,
blade
yeah.
classes they had with bards
Okay,
back in
yeah.
the day, where they can fight
Mhm.
with they get less penalties, but they're fighting a thief table. They can do
Mhm.
some minor acrobatic moves. The backstab's not as good. I think we have like 3 of them in the campaign. They're okay.
A little panache.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
panache. Yeah,
Yeah,
a little
the
panache.
noble person who wants to pretend to be a bad guy, so to speak, who goes around and can do some fancy moves and stuff like the Hollywood kind of hero type. Yeah.
Yeah, and Beacon, yes, they do have that, and I love a lot of the sub things that they did in Pathfinder Kingmaker. It's pretty cool. I agree 100%. But the Swashbuckler is another rare one that's played. And Tom's got a Swashbuckler. I have an NPC Swashbuckler. It's very few.
Mhm.
Beck may have a Swashbuckler +1 to Charisma.
There's a lot of flavor in that class.
Yeah,
more
it's
than,
more of a
than
flavor
teeth,
effect,
so to speak.
Yeah, Gets a dodge.
They
Okay.
can be a lot of fun too. Yeah.
Yeah, Mattis, it's almost the same. Charisma, they
Yeah.
tend to have a little bit higher charisma than a thief because they're a little more of that jack of all trades type of look character.
They're sort of like a duelist, but
Exactly.
stylish, duelist light, right?
Yeah, I base my Swashbuckler on Jack of all trades from what's his name, Bruce Campbell's awful TV show. That's where I got the idea from. Errol Flynn it up. It's the same difference, except he's an archer. Yeah, and don't back in the day, if you were to argue that point with Len, he would say that Errol Flynn's an archer. That's all he was, right? And he would argue with it. It's right in the article. He states that. It's pretty funny.
But he did fight though too. Sword.
He did fight, which they can with swords. They're fighters too. I have another one that is a ship-based one, and that's the Corsair. It's based on the bandits. It's used when we have a lot of hard B adventuring. Yeah. It is basically the bandit class, but with some abilities with shipboard, where they get pluses, improvised. They can use a lot of the weaponry on a ship in a pinch, and it's one of those classes that are you going to see it running around out in the middle of the Great Kingdom? Probably not. But if you're going to run an adventure and you're going to base it in the Pomars or the Sea Barons or Hardby or whatever, it's a good place to have the class.
Coastal raider, river pirate sort of guy, right?
Yeah. I'll blow out when I say Bruce Campbell stuff, when I say awful, I mean that everyone else thinks it's awful. I love it. I'm a Bruce Campbell guy, so and Bill will tell you that he doesn't get it with me and Bruce Campbell, but I love Bruce Campbell, so that's what I meant. I was being facetious there. So they lose once again. Corsairs can't pick pockets, and their backstab's lower, but they can do some other things. The main thing is they get pluses to hit and damage and saves on shipboard, so they're superior at close quarter ship combat than a normal bandit or a normal fighter. But
they're a fighter subclass, but they have some of the other light components, thief components.
Absolutely, right? It's a
like
fighter subclass as well, just like bandit's a fighter subclass as well.
Good.
So yeah, Swashbuckler was almost the Dragoon. It was. I almost, and you told me to change it and not make it after the Bruce Campbell named character in that, the Daring Dragoon, and I did. So I shouldn't have listened to you, but I did. All right. This class Anna has been playing in Tim's game, in his barbarian game. That's a Commando. This is a fighter subclass as well, but Tim, why don't you explain the Commando to us?
So, Commando is a fighter that specializes in moving to get, it has to move secretly to get where they need to do the combat. So springing from ambush, or climbing up a cliff face and then opening a door, picking a lock to get in so that they can hit the target they need to hit. So it's a fighter that's it's a light fighter. It's a fighter that moves lightly, fast, quietly, and then fights fast and leaves because of their lightness, they don't have a ton of staying power as far as armor goes and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's a fighter subclass. I allow the backstab. In Jay's world, that's not allowed. I'm actually going to rework it so that there's one that he would accept. So it'll fit in enough.
Try. Yeah, okay.
I'm sure.
I'm fair with that. I always take classes that other people make up and put them in the campaign permanently. And Bill's done that. Alan's done that.
And we first featured it, I guess, in the Dark Hand Barbarian campaign, and it fits right in real well with all those barbarian warriors.
Absolutely. Now, no one in the new one coming up has took that, right?
No one had stats high enough to do
Okay.
it. Because remember, we all did real rolls.
Right, that's true.
I will say that the last person I had did roll up high enough to be a ranger.
Okay.
So there will be a ranger.
So the tentative date for Tim's next session with that, by the way, is July 3rd, Saturday, July 3rd. That's the target date for that.
Is that good or
right now it's good? Right now it's good. Morning of July 3rd. Yep, absolutely. So that's where we're shooting for.
And what I've had a lot of fun not thinking about the mechanic of the individual and thinking about just the kind of class culturally, and that makes it more fun, I think. So the ranger, he's just a warrior amongst the barbarians, and the game mechanic that how he operates is as a ranger, but he's still fits in as a warrior and looks like all the other warriors pretty much.
Thank you, my friend Skagath, for that host. No monks
Hey.
discussion tonight, so you're safe. So yes, Hager, it's Portrait Workshop, and I bought it's like a $25 license to it. I know a couple other people have been using it. Like they're all ones I've made up, with the exception that Walt makes his own up for his characters now. So we're trying to get them all for. Think about this. Going off on a tangent. 40 years, the only artwork we have is the miniature, right? That's it, miniature figure. That shows our character. Finally, now we have something that we can have. And if I have 2,000 characters and I were to pay a professional artist, I wouldn't have a house, right? It just couldn't do it.
It's a good tool. Yeah, and it's getting better too. Yeah, I use it too. It's really good because you can make every NPC memorable, and it's so quick. Every NPC I've had in my campaign now, in my Shieldlands campaign, and it's only like 25 or 30 so far, but I've made a portrait of all of them. So yeah,
it's good to have, and it's good to have a visual reference and tied in. And I know on my Thursday night games, I'll run it with the class and the race and stuff, so people don't have to, instead of just having a card with that across and I'll have a picture now. And I try to make the pictures a hybrid of what they tell me on their character sheet and what the miniature looks like, and I try and get it. So I try and
and you can really make
it's good
a lot
to
of
see us,
especially when it comes to humans and orcs and elves, and they cover dwarfs and stuff. Some of the races I think looks better than others, but at least it does a decent job. A good job for the price, definitely. So I can really recommend it, and it's fast too. If you have a modern phone or tablet, it's great. And you can export it out.
Great, Hager. It's a great point, but I'm going to tell you what, I can't do that. I can't scour pictures from DeviantArt or places. I don't have the rights to it.
Yep.
So now I have the rights to use Dungeon Meisters anytime. He's given me rights anytime I want to use his for Greyhawk, especially. I can use his stuff. But like for my own character, this is why Portrait Workshop, I own them. And that's the big difference.
That's the thing. If you stream your games, then that it raises the bar significantly on all the art and stuff. If you only run it on your home game with your players, you can basically just Google it and use it for your own game at home, no problem. Yeah,
absolutely. But also with the music, I got to own the rights to all the music, and I do. So you got to do that, because trust me, you'll get the musical. If you get DCMA strikes against you, you'll get permanently banned very quick.
And one of the cool things with Portrait Workshop is that you get a consistent style, and there is some benefits to it too. I kind of like it. It becomes part of the campaign style, so to speak.
Absolutely. So, and since Anna taught me Photoshop about a year and a half back, now she can see like Pat Smith on there. I've been able to edit the order of your logos in, the heraldry and stuff on the characters.
Things. You can put like tattoos and marks like that on them, and
deity
stuff
symbols.
Like that too.
I've been putting deity symbols on specialty priests and all that. Like this Rancic Thornton there, he has the Pathfinder symbol you see right there. So it's a good question. By the way, every character that's scrolling tonight is one that has a portrait in Portrait Workshop in my main file that is a thief, bounty hunter, or one of the subclasses we're talking about tonight. Every single character I have scrolling through. So that's what I try and do in these shows. There are your multi-class, like Rain, she's a Shadow Mage thief. So yeah. Yep. But always got to play it safe. Always got to do things on the up and up. But it's a good point. The pictures on the internet are not signed. Aren't they public domain? You don't want to go there because you get hammered one time. That's all it takes.
Exactly.
And you don't know what's public domain and what's not. It's too hard to.
And you don't even know what country the picture comes from.
You don't want to.
And so there's like it's a quagmire legally when it comes to all that stuff.
Dragon, I'll give you an example.
Of course. Yeah. They could always just do the pictures himself and draw them himself.
Yeah. Imagine me running my game with Ed Greenwood, which was my largest one ever with over 200 viewer average, and then me posting it onto YouTube and me finding out that I had a portrait of someone on there that I didn't own the rights to, and they forced me to take it down. That could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't take the chance. It's better to have stuff that you own the rights to, especially in the streaming world.
Mhm.
So, a little lesson on that, and it's a great question. Um, so, but back to the thievery here. I always love to have those questions on why, and Portrait Workshop was something that filled a niche for our campaign.
Yeah,
It
and
was nice to have.
it's still in beta, so it's still
It's still
being
in beta
developed.
too.
So, yeah.
It's getting better and better. Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's always better to be safe. It's always better to own everything you use, especially when you're
Mhm.
streaming. Whoop,
Yeah. Oh, we lost Tim for a bit. Yeah,
lost Tim.
hopefully you come back.
Oh,
Hey,
there you
he's
go.
back again.
He's on the
Yeah.
other side there. So,
What happened?
you
I don't
snapped
know. You
off for
dropped.
about
Yeah, you
3
snapped off.
seconds.
Kind
and
of
I-
froze
then
and
back in
froze and
again.
froze and then
Yeah.
disconnected.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
funny. I'm going to talk about this goofy class, which only I use. No one's ever played a PC of them, but I have a Jester. The
Oh,
adventure
yeah.
group Theo's Heroes is run by Theodore Crax. Well, he's not. He's the self-declared. He's a Jester, half elf. They can't backstab. They can't do much. They
So-
can climb walls and pick pockets and
Yeah.
juggle and catch things.
Mhm. But it seems a bit like that's a version of the Bard before the Bard became a normal class in
Well,
a
they-
way.
Yeah, they can annoy characters by singing and taunting them, which is minor.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they don't get anywhere near the abilities that
Yeah.
bards get. They do get
Because,
some
yeah.
limited spells.
Because everyone who's not old school have to remember that back in the day, Bard was very different. Bard was not a normal class. It was the first prestige class. You had to go through lots of hoops to become a bard, and it was not just something you started and leveling up in. So the Jester Jester was an NPC class right from the beginning, and then you made it into a PC
Yeah,
class.
I
So,
mean, but
yeah.
it's still only an NPC class
Oh,
because we don't
okay,
have
yeah.
any PC jesters after
Yeah.
40 years or however many
Yeah.
years. So that's a great point, Daza. The Jester can control wands of wonders and what's the bag of tricks, things that are randomly used where you randomly pull out an effect or do an effect. They can
yeah.
control semi-control them.
And I can see a lot of inspiration from the Jester inspired the Bard class that came in, was it second edition where the Bard, I think it was second edition that introduced the normal Bard class.
Straight
when Bard
Bard,
became Bard became a normal class, and the Jester inspired a lot of the Bard class that came in second edition and then stayed in the game ever since.
Yes, true, Skagith, you are dead on that. You don't.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is upset the artist community, and that's you're dead on that, man. You want to give everyone the right credit for their work. So, Anna, we got to get Roger Moore on. He created this Jester. We got to ask him.
Oh yes,
about
yeah,
it.
we have to ask him to see if we can get him on.
We got to get him on. But
I don't. Did I ever make a character Jester for your game?
Psych Gibwanger. Do you remember Psych Gibwanger? Huh? No, that was Marco. That was
wasn't
Marco.
Me.
Yeah, you did.
I might have had Wamba.
Yeah, you did.
Oh yeah, from the. That's such an awesome name from the.
He had a wand of force or something, I think.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
I don't remember. Exactly.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, those were in the early days.
I had an NPC Jester that was really high level named Hector.
That's probably what I'm remembering. So they have their place, and if you've seen the fighting going on from last week, the Jester was doing hitting twice, was doing 7 points of damage with a dagger hand axe, right? That was it. I mean, fighting two-fisted, it's not he can't backstab. He's there for moral support for the most part, and that's part of the game. What's up, Logan? See you. Yeah, so but it's fun, and as an NPC,
he's
it's a good
telling jokes.
That's it. Telling jokes, doing cartwheels during the
making
fight.
witticisms and witty repartee.
Absolutely. So note that, and we didn't even talk about this book because I don't know it. Oh, Tim Enoch, thank you so very much. The complete Thieves Handbook in second edition gives you some ideas for a lot of kits and a lot of ideas and guilds. So if you're a 1E, 2E player, it's a good book. It's even a good book if you're not and you want to go and get some ideas for Thieves. And they got some. There are some other tables in the back of this that are You know, they got kit adjustments for all of them. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them here. And if you notice, a lot of these are 5e names. So you know, you got smuggler, investigator,
Yep.
fence,
Mhm.
yeah, beggar. There's a lot of different types in here that you can adjust. What we do is I adjust them back to 1e. But the thug's the one I like, so I use the thug. So, but yeah, I adjust that one back for the most part. So, Anna, what do you think overall about like the direction of Thieves and what you do in your game and
Well, I think thieves are really, and then they're called rogues in every edition after first, I guess. Or but it's a character class that I think is iconic. Just look at the fantasy literature, movies, and so on. So it's definitely just like the fighter, the wizard, and some of these. They're kind of one of the core classes, and you want a sneaky kind of jack of all trade little side. It's an awesome sidekick, and it's a fun character class to play because you have a role in almost whatever goes on. Meaning you have, and if you play like third edition Pathfinder 1 and fifth edition and stuff, you're skill strong class. So your character has a lot of abilities that not only, meaning on the battlefield you're good, you have backstabbing and you have a role in combat, but you also have a lot of roles in non-combat situation. You can, and you can always sneak and hide and look at things, and you're good at perception traps. Meaning it's, if you're a new player and you want to play something a little bit more varied than the fighter, that then I can really recommend to play a thief or a rogue, because it's a fun class that you can get a lot of mileage out of. And especially in the early editions, it leveled up fast too. So it was in many ways, it's a fun. You can make fun characters with a lot of flavor, and you get to take part of whatever the party does. If you're a thief or a rogue, there is a room for you. You have a seat, a good needed seat at the table, no matter what, so to speak. City adventure, wilderness, doesn't matter. You're good. The
And
dungeons, yeah.
and there's no wisdom minimum.
Exactly. You mean you need high decks. That's and some but if you like an average and a little bit of decks, you're good, so to speak. And even if you're not that high, have that much high abilities, it's still a fun character class to play. A lot of other character classes, they suffer immensely from not having, like paladins need to have every, and rangers and stuff, they need to have every ability score way above normal, but you don't need to. A thief doesn't need to be that strong, and he doesn't need to be that. Wisdom is kind of good but not necessary. Charisma is good but not necessary. So yeah.
there's a lot, and there's a lot of ways you can make some enhancements. Like I said, like
Yeah.
I added intelligence pluses to
Yeah.
read languages. You can do that with some other
Yeah.
skills if you want to, even find traps maybe.
Yeah.
There's a lot
And
of
it's a
way.
perfect multi-classing class, meaning you can have
Oh,
thief
yeah.
and then something. Fighter thieves, great. Fighter mage, fun. And thief ranger, awesome. Then you have the
Oh, yeah.
wilderness thief there, so to speak. So yeah, it's a lot of interesting possibilities with it. So it's a good class, and it's also, every party should have one. Just like you should have a cleric, you should have a thief.
The fighter magic user thief was big with Tim with Ulrich, right? Ulrich was a triple class. And then we have a fighter cleric thief, which was Walt's Dark Elf Devitt, which you saw a couple weeks ago in Xanthoria. So we have had some really high level thieves that with the triple class capability in the base. So there's a lot of options. So also another one that we have a witch. We do use the Timothy Brandon 1E witch book, and they can become thieves too. So there's a lot of good combos. Elf Thief Badge is a great combo dragon. The only issue is hit points are so low.
Oh yeah,
You know,
in the early editions, you only get
Yeah.
a D4 from the.
Oh god.
Yeah,
it
becomes
gets worse
terrible.
now.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of have to add the fighter there just to give it a little bit of a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Renee, well, that's another discussion for another time. We won't go into the Renee and the gypsies and things like that at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Tim, what are your thoughts in closing? 2 hours flying by tonight.
Yeah,
It's because
I
it's a
think,
Monday.
There's no, I mean, spicing the thief can be a mechanic, but I think one of the best ways to do it is to really develop the cultures they're operating in and the secrecy and you know, the organized crime. Once you develop that, they kind of fit right in, and they're important. You get to a town, well, where's the best place to figure things out? Well, he's gonna know the signs of who we can kind of go talk to and
Yeah.
you know, blend in there, and it makes it far more interesting, you know, a character other than just running around trying to pick someone's pocket, which is
Right. It's not all about the picking pockets.
that's
There's a lot
elementary
more-
school level.
Yeah, there's a lot more going on beside that
Yeah.
with your thieves, definitely. Absolutely. So barbarian thieves like the wanderer like Conan. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I never knew what class Conan was. Never did. Never got it. You know. I guess he was that.
Maybe
dual
he's
cla-
a double class fighter.
Yeah. Well, probably was a barbarian. Well, in D&D terms, I have the 2 Conan adventures. I never really even looked at
Well,
it to see
it's
what he was
in the book, he actually is a full. He's already kind of developed as a.
Hey, Will. Well, Will, we're
As
going
a
to see you Wednesday
warrior,
night,
so.
man.
Yeah.
Oh, 7 o'clock. By the way, everyone, I'll say this multiple times. 7 o'clock start this Wednesday instead of 8. An hour early this Wednesday, please, for Legends and Lore. 1 hour early. All right, I'm going to say that multiple times. We're going to get an early start so that some of our people involved in it, our bloggers, can get to sleep at a reasonable hour for them that have to get up super early in the morning. So, yep. Oh, thank you, Isher. There you go. And I know both Anna and Tim will appreciate that. Both wore the uniform, so there you go. Okay, well, any other final questions from the audience before we do some shout outs tonight as we are getting, I mean, look, it's just amazing how quick 2 hours goes by now.
Yeah.
3:19 there, man, Sky, that's insane. There. Yeah, nuking from orbit's the best way if you're playing BattleTech there. It's always, yeah, I'm trying to be accommodating. As a fact, we have a Legends and Lore coming up, a bonus one in 2 weeks on a Saturday morning. That's coming up, which I'll talk about tonight. All right, Anna, what's going on tonight? What do you got? What do you got
I'm
cranking?
writing. Yeah, I'm celebrating 300 patrons, so I worked really hard for a couple of days, and now it's coming. I'm listening to all the good critique I got on my Worth planetary model, so to speak. So I remodeled it, and I tried my very best, and I had a lot of fun, and I've learned a lot more about climate and how the planets work, so to speak. So I've talked to one of my friends. She's a doctor in oceanography and in simply how the oceans work, temperature and climate and stuff like that. And she had 2 friends. So we had a Zoom call. I had 3 experts on climate with me, three doctors and me on the Zoom call for like, we have had 4 Zoom calls with various experts, so to speak. And once we were like 4 of us on the Zoom call, and those 3 were experts at this. They were doctors in this, and they thought it was so much fun when I sent them the model and we kind of discussed it and stuff because they were working from home. So I've had some awesome input, and there was some key issues. One of them was the desert. There was way too much desert in the West, so to speak. And the other one is we have the cowhide problem. That the world looks like a big cow skin that is just, so it's kind of, that was, and also there needed to be a bit more islands on it, so to speak. The coastlines are a bit long and sterile. So I tried my best to mitigate all these problems with adjusting the model a bit, and it's kind of interesting, and I've learned a lot, and I've found a lot of cool creative solutions to this to make the world better, so to speak. So I'm writing the blog post now, and I've done all the texture map, I've done the new climate map and stuff like that. So I think that could be could be real cool. So listen to the critique, so to speak, because all that critique that you gave me were very constructive and very well placed, so to speak, and I agreed with a lot of it, and that is a perfect example of making it better, because I think that this model is way better than the first. It might not be the final one, we'll see. That might be more, might be able to squeeze something even better out of this, but it's I think definitely a huge step forward, so to speak, and it still adheres generally to all of it. And also the Sundered Empire map, we actually analyzed the shit out of it, so to speak, and we try to make a world that actually fits that map better, so to speak, and that was a lot of fun. We took a bad map and tried to make it, how could a world look like that? Could we make it look like that reasonably? And that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun and laughs and fun about it. So that was good. So yeah.
Oh, so a week from Wednesday is the Earth. Okay.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons I suggested this.
Yeah.
I've suggested it several times, but now I think it's we need to have an episode where we take the planet, and just as one of these caveats, so to speak, it's not to dictate. It's, I think that the essence of the show should be to show the possibilities, not to say the planet looks like this. It's more like, so we can kind of say what it could look like for various DMs and stuff, because we know it's a topic with very little substance and a lot of opinions, so to speak, and I'm fully aware of that. So yeah,
so that's coming a week from Wednesday. So we got, wait till you see all this content coming in the next 3 weeks. It's crazy. Christoph doesn't like to participate that much. He's welcome to, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So, note, we'd always, the door's always open there. So if any, Tim, what's up?
Well, the next thing I'm working on is our July 3rd game. The Pelu tribe. We already know what the Dark Hand look like, the higher level heroes. But what would it look like if you were one of the
scrubs,
kind of downtrodden that the Pelu rescued, and you came in as an orphan, and you weren't all, super statted out to be a barbarian class? We're gonna find out what that's like on July 3rd.
Yes,
with the underdogs.
First session. The underdogs start right now. It looks like what time in the morning? Do we know yet?
No, that's going to depend on probably the furthest west, the individual furthest west.
Who, Kayla?
Yeah.
It's a 3-hour difference there.
It's a 3-hour difference.
Now,
so
it's 2 hours.
I'm fine
normally.
Starting early, but
it's 2 hours normally, but it's 3 now in the summer because of the way Arizona does their time zones. So, yep.
So,
yes. He says, I'm not going to get into it now at this point with that, okay? Just note that sometimes it works out with certain guests and sometimes it just doesn't with other guests. So, plus, Adam and I will sit down and talk about what we need for that show in a week, and then we'll go from there. So,
there are barbarians and there's warriors,
and then there's,
but the game mechanics for those warriors is going to be different. But culturally, I've worked kind of hard to make sure everyone has that feel of being a member of the tribe and a warrior. Some are better fighters than others. Some are, a couple, a wise man and a wise woman. So there's somebody with some sort of, magical abilities that are related to religion and their spirits and nature. So there's some varieties in there, but they should all have that same sort of shamanistic feel to them. So
it's going to be exciting. Going to be
excited to see how that
good low level adventure, entry level. They're firsts. You're starting with zeros or first?
They are first level.
First, okay.
And there's a chance that one of the characters could die in the opening sequence of the game, and there's a chance that the rest of them could die a little bit later.
That's so awesome.
Like, you might have a TPK half an hour in.
That's so awesome.
They were like, "What character sheets are we going to use?" I'm like, "I don't really care. Let's just see if they live." And then I'll worry about how you write them down.
That's cool. Nice.
So, they're the underdogs. I hope they do good. Everybody loves an underdog.
So that's what's going on. Now, note that I'm trying to figure out a night or a Saturday morning that I can get a BattleTech stream in. I'm working on
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
Trying to. This weekend is out now, 100%. So we're gonna keep on trying that. But Tim, I'm looking forward to that, and
Yeah.
yeah,
And
we need
I'm going to call this one the Desperate Land.
okay, Desperate Land. All right, so I can get up a
That's the
banner.
name of the That's the name of the adventure.
Okay, I can get up a banner for that now, and I'll have that one. I'll start working on that too. All right, cool. The Desperate Land, or just Desperate Land?
Desperate Land. This is basically
Okay.
the fall before the Dark Hand did their thing.
Oh, okay. So it's a
So there's the fall, there's a winter, and then there's the summer when the Dark Hand did their thing. So they got to live through the winter.
all right, cool. No,
Oh, you don't. You. Wow.
back in time.
Desperate
Gotta love
Land.
that. Gotta love that stuff.
Yep.
That's awesome. All right, so what's going on the rest of the week? Wednesday
Yeah.
night's a big night. We got a great Legends and Lore coming. 102 Return of the Greyhawk Bloggers. We had them on a Gabbin probably over a year ago.
Mhm.
But so we got Jason Zavoda, Tommy John Kelly. We have Mike, of course, David Leonard, and William Henry Dvorak. Now all going to talk about blogging for Greyhawk. So Kane's like, should I roll up a new? No, you'll be fine. It's Tim. And we'll talk about what's hot in the blogger world, stories they got going on, and some cool things that they all have about, and the rise of the Greyhawk blogger. Alan Growe's on his way to North Texas Con, so he won't be available. He'll be on a plane at that time. So there you go. That is on Wednesday. Thursday night, we finish up Adventure 912. Never Let a Crisis Go to Waste. It turns out that the Dark Brotherhood is involved in this, in Selene, doing some craziness. You know, whatever Halia Thrain is looking for there, that's who they believe is there with all these trolls and these Vaprak, the Destroyer trolls and worshippers, and always use the others for your own benefit. You're right, to let them do the dirty work with the adventuring party. So we'll find out what's going on there on Thursday, and that'll be a Reaper Miniatures Night sponsored giveaway Thursday night. All right, next Sunday's Gabbin, because there's nothing on Saturday. No, there's nothing on this Saturday. Next Sunday's Gabbin is going to. This is. I'm going to ask Mike Bridges to come on to this too, because he did a lot with it. Mass combats.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Okay.
Yep. Mhm.
And I'm going to take this off of what happened with Chris Pramus and Chainmail.
Mhm.
What
Yep.
I've done, we'll go over battle system. We'll go over what you may do. We'll go over ship combat, which is another
Yep.
one that is tough. We'll go. Yes. So let's talk about mass combat.
Yeah. I
Next
also
on
had
a
a
regular night.
mass combat system that it's very simple one.
Good.
Yeah, that I called surrounding battles.
Awesome.
Because it was all the battles that can go on if the characters are in a spot and there's a war going on around them. That all the combat that doesn't involve the players themselves, the characters themselves, that I simplified it greatly just to make it more fun and run it simple. So yeah.
Nagoya, I'll let Anna and other guests do the 5e stuff because I don't know anything about it. So,
Yeah, there have been so many. I think I've owned like 3 or 4
Strongholds, I don't
different
have
mass. Yeah, there's so many. There are many different mass combat
we'll make
systems.
an
I think I have
attempt.
like 3 or 4 of them,
Yeah.
and I've read through them a little bit. But yeah, it depends on your goals with
Yeah.
it, so to speak. You want to have a full. Yeah.
I'll explain what I do too. Yeah, we'll do our
But
best.
I think that's a great topic. Yeah.
Thank you.
For next Sunday. Yeah.
And then we've already showed this for the week after from Wednesday, the Earth.
Yep.
There are 2 Legends and Lores next week. This is on the normal Wednesday night, and that's normal time 8 o'clock. Remember, 7 o'clock this Wednesday. But then a week from Saturday, I have 2 streams on Saturday, June 12th. All right. A week from this Saturday, 2 streams. First one is a special Legends and Lore with the Finns. So there you go, real close to you, Skagith. Sampo Harla, Natessine, Living Greyhawk, Alyssa. 11 a.m. Saturday, June 12th. So that is what? That's 6 p.m. their time. So yeah, it'll be an interesting discussion. Casey will be joining us, and that will be in the morning, and it'll be 2 hours in the morning, and then from that will be our next Saturday night special, and we have a Living Greyhawk All Stars. The Adventures of Cannon Fodder. The Alien Adventures, Death Comes Quickly. That's just to scare Casey. I just made that up. So, and Casey Brown, Susan Thurgill, Anna, Vernon Vincent. It looks like David Quick will be joining us from the other group, and also Kayla Timler's wife and Stella will be on too. Whoops, I keep on moving the back screen when I'm trying to do that there. Yeah, so we're gonna have a nice group with that. That'll be 2 weeks, a week from Saturday, Saturday, June 12th. Note that there will also be.
Come quickly.
It does come quickly. A week from that weekend, the Friday after that, the 18th, is the first show. I'm going to put this up in the chat with Alyssa Faden and Anna Meyer. The fantasy mapping show will be Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, there's a lot going on along with all the other streams. So we got a packed full schedule. I'm also finalizing another guest for Gabbin upcoming. So hopefully I'll announce that shortly once that's 100% finalized. So look at that, 9:34, just a couple minutes late. So let's do the giveaway tonight. And we will do that and see who the winner is for this $25. This one's an easy one. $25, boom, just give it out. Gift certificate to Troller Games. Last call. Anyone else want to sign up? All right. We'll see who does the win on this. Alrighty. Let me do it. I'm going to close it out. And then we'll... let's see. Reapers this Thursday. I'm going to give out a lot of stuff during the blogger one on Wednesday. That's funny. That's thanks for the compliment there, but Netflix is good to have, man. My brain just shut down. I'm closing out the entries, and here we go. The winner of this $25 gift certificate, which I will send out pretty quickly. I'll send it out tonight via email or Discord. I need one of the two. Is Bloodwild. There you go, man. Congrats, Bloodwild.
Yeah, congratulations.
I think he's on. Bloodwild, are you there to claim?
Yes, awesome.
Bloodwild, you were in, man. No problem. I think I should have your Discord. I'll get that out to you. Let's raid into Parentland Adventures right now so that he can get, and please give him a follow. He's trying to make an affiliate, a new Greyhawk stream. And a lot of our players, like Les is playing in it, Cannibal's playing in it. There's a lot.
Cool.
Tino, Monkey Boogers is playing in it. So go see them. And we'll call it a night. Thank you all for coming out and watching us on a Monday night, on an off night, instead of, because I couldn't have it last night. Thank you. Tim, thank you for coming on. Anna, as always, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
We'll see you all. Thank you. We'll see you all. See you all Wednesday night for a great show about the bloggers, and we'll talk to you soon. And hopefully I hit the right button.
Be at the next Thieves Guild meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you hit the right button. Yeah.
I did hit the right button. Let me set the raid up. Parentland. Raid.
But I was just meddling with my new sheath that I bought here. I bought a little thing.
Oh, cool.
Hanging dagger at the getting ready for the June 5th Renaissance Festival.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you Wednesday night.